So at the time of hearing about the 3-year plan, did you believe it had any hope in working out?
Absolutely not.
I'm not gonna lie, I had no hope.
It's like, oh, this guy's just all pumped.
I guess I probably had my doubts.
I did not. I didn't even really know what the 3-year plan was. So I don't know if I would say that the 3-year plan was going to work.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it was ever really in doubt. Like Babe Ruth's called shot, the 3-year plan is forever enshrined in the mythology of the GCB. However, despite it being mentioned often, no details about the 3-year plan have ever been revealed to the public, leading some to believe that the 3-year plan simply never existed. Today, we aim to solve this mystery.
Can you go into a little more detail as to what this 3-year plan looked like? Did you expect to be as bad as you were in year one?
The first year, our plan was to be pretty bad. We kind of assumed with the league, everyone was coming from the redraft every year type of thing. They wanted to win right away, win now. And we figured they'd be focusing on the real high value players for now. And we thought, what better to do than really target the up and coming guys that maybe are flying under the radar. People don't want to bid too high on them because they don't know how they're going to do, or maybe they'd say, well, I don't want to bid on this guy who's not going to do much this year if I can get a minor receiver to help me win this year. However, after a slow start, the rest of the league had their doubts. Did you think that the 3-year plan was going to work out?
Considering the first couple of the 3-year plan was a little grim, no.
To me, it just sounded like a homeless man begging for some change. And that change, I thought, was only going to buy you a McDonald's cheeseburger.
When I first heard Mike Vick in a box put another 3-year plan with that roster, I said this guy's crazy. No chance. But then a year passed.
What was kind of the process from year 1 to 2 and then year 2 to 3?
For the second year, a lot of our plan obviously get some high picks. We did trade those away. That was maybe not the best part of the 3-year plan, but everyone makes mistakes.
We had to trade with the first round pick and Christian Michael. Back in the day that some would say was lopsided.
A big part of it was getting Cam Newton. He was a guy I targeted in the first year. I think it just shows how important my team is and how much it can elevate you. Cam Newton was a guy, he had promise, but he didn't really put it together. Suddenly he gets put on Mike Vick in the box and he's an MVP. I think we really helped his development there. Our off-season coaching just put him on another level. We did get to the playoffs, finished in the money. It was just kind of a year we could start to see stuff come to fruition a bit. The third year was when a lot of the 3-year plan came into it. Everyone knows that with third-year wide receiver bump, you saw guys like Allen Robinson, who was a key part of my team, suddenly really blossom in that year. And another thing about it was we figured with the cap, there was a lot of people who weren't ready for it to increase. They were planning for those 2 years where everything was going to stay the same. Once we get that increase, there's going to be a lot of people who drop a lot of good players. And I think if you look back at that free agent draft, it was one of the best free agent drafts we've ever had. And I ended up having a lot of cap space, used all of my cap space to get Shady McCoy and Matt Forte. LaShawn McCoy was an excellent part of the team, really helped us. Running back 1 for the whole year. Matt Forte did drop off a little at the end. He was a little older, but at the beginning of the year, he was getting 20 points a game almost. We knew that free agent draft was going to be important. We nailed it. We did make a little bit of a big trade. We knew we could afford the assets. We traded first, second, third, and fourth for Drew Brees and Brandon Cooks.
By the end of that year, I was believing in it. We made that Drew Brees, Saquon Barkley trade, and the rest is history. So I like to think I played a large part in making that 3-year plan happen. So you're welcome.
I think it was a good deal. First of all, it got us a championship. I don't care. We could have traded my first rounder for the next 10 years. If you get a championship, I think you'll take it. But in the end, we flipped Brandon Cooks right back for a second rounder, I believe, late second. And we ended up flipping Drew Brees for a second, a third, and Corey Coleman. Not necessarily working out, but still, even though we traded all these assets for these guys, very shortly after we flipped them.
I think with where our teams were at, I think it was a fair deal at the time. I got Saquon. Well, I got a bunch of picks. One of them turned into Saquon because your team went in the tank immediately after winning that championship. So it worked out.
Mike Vickenavox finished the 2016 regular season with a 9-5 record, tied for best in the league. This bought them a first-round matchup versus Rybread, a former champion. Mike Vickenavox beat Rybread for the second straight time in the playoffs, thanks in large part to a 60-point performance from trade acquisitions Drew Brees and Brendan Cooks. We've gone 0 for 2 versus Mike Vickenavox in the playoffs. Is there something about that team that just can't beat?
I think my only losses were probably in those first few seasons to you, and I haven't really seen you in the playoffs since. So yeah, I'll say credit to Austin on getting those wins. But at the end of the day, if I would have seen Mike Vickenavox season 5, season 6, 7, 8, 9, whew, man, it would have been a problem for Austin. That's all I'm saying.
The team moved on to the championship round versus Mr. Yunt, where both teams would be competing for their first championship. Do you think that you had a good shot at winning?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you gotta go into each matchup with confidence you're gonna win, right? Or else why are you there? So I actually don't think I've told any of you guys this. On the night of that game, I was actually on a date, and we went to a bowling alley, so I could actually somewhat watch the game. So I was trying to follow along with it and like stat-wise enough in my head to know where I was at in relation to you. Pretty much saw the first half, and I ended up, feeling pretty good about it. I don't think I was winning at that time, but it was looking like it was trending that way.
Going into that game, I had some high hopes, but I was incredibly nervous, They always say act like you've been there before, but I hadn't been there before. I just remember watching that Monday night game, and I just remember finally Matt Stafford passed me. And I went to I think we had GroupMe at the time, and I just typed in like, hey, well fought. 3-year plan didn't work, but we came real close. Congrats to you, Patrick. When Mr. Yunt passed Mike Vickenavox on Monday Night Football, it looked like everything was over. And then a miracle happened.
Nowhere to go, the ball's loose. Sitting on the turf. It's picked up.
What comes to your mind when I bring up the fumble?
Pain. Just one word. It's all it needs. And I don't think really anything else needs to be said. We can move on.
We were watching it, me and Alex and my father, Alex's grandfather, and we were hanging on the edge of our seats literally for the whole game because it kept going back and forth. And that game wasn't much of a game, and when Stafford fumbled and Alex and I realized what had happened, we were going bananas. And my father, who was half asleep because it was late because we were in the Eastern time zone, was like, why do you even care? What happened? Who cares? But we knew, and it was very exciting.
Yeah. In a drive that didn't mean anything in the NFL game, but everything in this game, Matthew Stafford on the goal line fumbled the ball and got the -2 points, which put me in front.
Oh my God. So I'm trying to just think of the money that changed hands on one must snap. That's incredible. And painful. And awesome all in one. Oh, God.
And then I just remember coming back, looking at my phone, I'm like, wow, there's a lot of chats in this group chat. What must have happened? Looking at it, they're saying, oh, I can't believe that just happened. Oh my gosh. I go check, and sure enough, Matt Stafford fumble. Mike Vickenavox is on top. There's a couple minutes left in the game. Ended up working just fine. I just remember seeing that, and I couldn't believe my eyes. I'm like, oh my gosh, it was. I do remember me going outside and shouting a little bit. I think it might be the greatest moment of my life. If I ever do get married, I think I'll have to tell my wife that's the second best. While the fumble is widely documented, there's another oddity that happened this game that often goes under the radar. In the 9-year history of our league, a kicker has only had rushing points once. That time came in the 2016 championship.
As the leg, now you got a fake. Now you got McManus running to the outside. Can he pick up the first down? No.
This added 6 rushing yards onto Mike Vickenavox kicker Brandon McManus' total for the day. The margin of victory for Mike Vickenavox, 0.6 points.
Should have came out with that one. Should be a 2-time champ, but as fate has it, not meant to be.
What do you think winning that championship has meant to your team?
if I hadn't won that championship, I think people might. Mike Vickenbach might be a laughingstock, maybe talked about like in the same sentence as the Dynasty champions. We had some rough years. Out of all the teams, we finished last. 3 years, I believe. It was actually 4. That's pretty rough. But if you ask someone, hey, what do you think? What stands out to you the most about the Mike Vickenbach franchise? They don't talk about the last place finishes. They talk about the 3-year plan, because that's just how momentous it was that it actually came to fruition. I'm trying to think of an NFL comparison. Nick Foles, he's been not a great starting quarterback for most of his career. He's a backup. But when you ask people about Nick Foles, they don't say, oh yeah, there was that one time he was in Jacksonville, or hey, remember when he was awful for the St. Louis Rams. They say, oh, I remember when he did the Philly special in the Super Bowl and won MVP. I really think that's Mike Vickenbach is the Nick Foles of the league. I think in every way, every capacity. It elevates our status. At the end of the day, only 5 of the 12 GMs here have their name on the trophy, and one of them is me. With the 3-year plan over and its success confirmed, there's been talk of other teams adopting a similar plan.
I think that's why I've also adopted the 3-year plan. Now, am I saying that my 3-year plan has been completed? No, I actually have one more year until the 3-year plan has been complete. I'm here to pillage people's teams and to, in terms of fantasy terms, slaughter them for my own gain.
I've developed, kind of a single-year plan and just keep rolling it over year after year, trying to avoid the need to go to the full rebuild.
Do you have faith in my 3-year plan? You're right, I don't. I have a dynasty plan. We have the rest of our lives for this league, and when it's all said and done, when we look back 60 years from now, the dynasty champions will be on top.
But not all GMs buy into it.
It's hard to make a 3-year plan because everything changes from year to year anyway. So I don't buy into 3-year plans.
But no matter what you think about it, the 3-year plan will always be immortalized on the championship trophy.